pretty much a day off for the Cowboys today. Not a ton happening out here on the practice fields, but as per usual, training camp is running and the content it's getting cranked out right and left, guys. It's got a lot of stuff. Just to clarify, Jalen Ramsey did have the full meniscus repair. They're hoping to get him back late in the season. And then the other big story that Zack hit as well back in NFL news of the day is the Joe Burrow thing. And Coach clarifying today it's going to be multiple weeks. That shouldn't hurt him too much. I think he's got things pretty much figured out, and they don't have a lot of moving parts this offseason. Dak's answer to the Zack Martin question is going viral today. Happened yesterday, a 3-word answer, pay the man. And that's something you're going to get from anytime you get a player talking about a teammate's situation. They're either going to say no comment or give the full endorsement. Is there any downside to making Zack wait? What are you hearing? Is he about to show up? Is he going to be here tomorrow? What's the latest, Brian?
Yeah, all the indications, because Tyler Smith gave us a little bit of a pull back the curtain moment when Zack was texting with his teammates saying, hey, you lay the groundwork, you get it started, I'll be there in a few days, kind of a thing. And so, that's kind of what you have to go on right now. I know Duke is working with Zack back in Dallas and,
cool.
Staying
Duke
in shape.
Weather, the offensive
exactly.
line coach guru.
Duke,
right
he is really, really, really good. And so, Zack is going to be ready. I'll tell you where it was really very evident, though, in practice yesterday, was when the right side of the offensive line just wasn't good enough. Just wasn't. And then they weren't good at the guard spot, at the backup spot. Farniak, I felt like, was the best of the options, but, he's a guy. I mean, he's probably going to have to be your swing guard, the backup center as well. But, Ben, the others that they put in, just off that right side, I mean, Dak, I see why he was saying, hey, pay the man.
Yeah.
Because he was dealing with a lot of things coming off that right side, and mainly what was happening at right guard without Zack Martin being there.
Okay, I got to know how you're feeling about Tyron Smith.
You know what? The Tyron Smith thing, to me, we haven't seen Tyron Smith play left tackle in a long time. It feels like it's been years, but actually, with him getting the injury last year in training camp and then moving over to the right tackle spot, I think on the left side over there was a couple of times where he and then Tyler Smith, they tried to twist him today on some stunts and stuff where it was like quick recognition, a blitzer, guys flashing on him and stuff. Those two guys, it was just bam, bam, together. Yeah. And it was like, okay, now I see. And it was really kind of opposite of what we saw with Martin and Smith on the right side, where there was a little bit of Tyron Smith is a left tackle. Yes. That's what he is.
Yes.
But to see Tyler Smith, be able to stab that guy and then make the looper have to come all the way around, and they wadded everything up. But again, they're not pads, but it's just two big guys. And the questioners ask about Tyron Smith. He looks good moving around out there. The thing he's doing, he's always been able to do this. He can keep the width of the pocket. His feet just allow him to get to the outside. Is it as good as it was 6-7 years ago? Probably not.
No,
but it's not that stiff moving guy that we saw a little bit at right tackle last year.
So do we eliminate all pro from possibility? He's still in his prime. He's a Hall of Fame talent.
Oh, he will always get consideration because of his name.
Okay. I think actual play,
but actual play will be if you get Pro Bowl level, and I don't know if it's even starter level. I think we're past those days.
So
now.
We're looking for sufficient good left tackle play.
We're looking at him and Tyler Smith going over there and not letting anything bother Dak Prescott.
That's really exciting because Biotish has had another great offseason. We know the right side has the best combo blocks going in the NFL.
Right.
If you can solidify that left side, maybe the offensive line can be a strength.
I'll tell you what, they threw every quick screen to a receiver I've seen has been to the left side, with him being the tackle to that side.
Yeah, okay. He's getting out there in space, man.
You're right,
good.
There you go, Zach. You got it. Yep, you got it.
I mean, left guard has been kind of a liability for a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years going back to the Connor Williams years. If you could add real athleticism with real power, at Tyler Smith there at left guard, if Tyron Smith stays healthy, that's what that means for you.
Yeah.
And you could have the potential to play incredibly physical football against the best defensive lines.
Why do I hate to say that the left guard play has gone all the way back to Ron Leary? that we haven't
gotten it figured out.
Yeah,
completely.
we haven't completely figured out. Like 2016 seems like the last time I felt like, damn, they got a really great left guard over there. You know,
we were pumped about Connor Williams, and it just didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
No,
undersized.
They've taken some chances, but nobody with near the talent and size that Tyler does. That it could be really incredible. Okay, not only do the Cowboys have one of the top front sevens, and on the heels of the Eagles in Warren Sharp's latest rankings, he did front seven rankings. But they are also ahead of Philadelphia in Warren Sharp's secondary rankings.
Yeah.
Okay, Cowboys' second best secondary, fourth best front behind only the Eagles, Niners, and Dolphins in that order. What do those rankings make you think about or reimagine? My theory is, could it possibly be a situation that adding Gilmore in there and adding Mozzie Smith makes two already strengths up? And if you take away the Anthony Brown and Terrence Steele injuries from last year, what it makes me think of is they're better than last year. And last year, if they'd stayed healthy, maybe they could have beat the 49ers. You know, with Tony Pollard and Terrence Steele.
Pollard was huge.
Maybe you could have beaten the 49ers on that deal, especially if you had a healthy Terrence Steele. That would have been what would have made them seriously defend the run and give you a chance to actually move the football in the air in the second half. You didn't have that possibility. That's why the Niners, got the best of you for a second year in a row. But seeing these position rankings, and I trust Warren Sharp more than anybody.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the first one because we've talked about the positional rankings and where these lists have had it. And most lists have the Eagles ahead of the Cowboys, and we've kind of gone, I think that's just they're showing more love to the Eagles than necessary here. And the thing that even Warren Sharp points out when he talks about the Cowboys and their second-ranked secondary coming into the season, he says last year Dallas ranked 19th in the rate of allowing 20 or more yards through the air, and that's the thing. He says they were a little bit volatile from that standpoint last year, and he says the addition of Stephon Gilmore is certainly going to help that. But I think a lot of those numbers are inflated from about a 4-week stretch when the secondary was getting crushed.
Yes.
And you had Anthony Brown injured, and they were toying with who to put out there. And we talked about it in real time. In the moment, we're going, man, the defense has got to get back to being the defense that is not allowing big plays because they were so great at it right up until that Anthony Brown injury. And now you have, like, Josh Dobbs throwing down the sideline on you, and it's like, what's going on?
Hankins was hurt, too, in that stretch.
Yes, Hankins was hurt, too.
Well, and Van Der Esch was out after the Jacksonville game.
Yeah. So I think Dan Quinn and the Cowboys have a great understanding on eliminating the big play. Now, obviously, if they get a bunch of injuries in the secondary, that can change things. But that's something that I think is inflated due to like that 1 month stretch where guys were injured and whatnot.
I think you're 100% right. I do think, though, Malik Hooker was a problem, and you've talked about that, Brian. Giving up some of the big plays, Malik Hooker needs to get back to being healthy. Maybe it was the thumbs last year. We know he's got the range and ability to do that. It's also Diggs. Diggs is very, very good, but the flaw in his game is he's susceptible to double moves and big plays down the field.
The other thing I think about, and that's a really good point, is on the opposite of Diggs is with Gilmore at 34 years old. I've discounted him, but Warren Sharp clearly isn't. A lot of the analytics say he's holding strong, and his age 33 year was actually really comparable to his age 28 year. And I'm like, how is this possible? Some dudes age well. And I think after about 32, 33, it's a coin flip whether you're just going to come back to training camp old. But that hasn't happened with Gilmore, has it? He's still looking pretty good out there, and his numbers from the recent season, suggest he might be a better corner than Diggs.
Yeah, for sure, because he's one of these guys that he wasn't the kind of corner that was depending on his great athleticism, even when he was young. He's a cerebral technician, and so that sort of ages well. And now he's healthy, and he's overcome some of these injuries, and he's the guy that everybody points to as he is the hardest, maybe the hardest worker on the team at this point. He's the guy who understands as you age, you have to take care of yourself at the highest level, and he absolutely gets that.
Dak, Diggs, Pollard, the latest in the NFL top 100 in this range between 50 and 75 or so. Dak comes in at 56.
Yeah, that still leaves Lamb and Parsons as the two guys that have not been selected for this. So they're somewhere above even the groups that we're in right now.
I'm kind of surprised we only got two guys to go in the top half of this list. We're not inflating our guys, right? These are just the weirdness of these rankings. We have enough high-end talent on this team, don't we?
Yeah, they've got everything somewhere between, 50 and on back, right? It's kind of what we're looking at with this team. Yeah.
So far, Tony Pollard, is the highest rated at this point at 55, and then Dak was 56, Diggs 60, Zach Martin 68, DeMarcus Lawrence 99. I wonder if you'll see a Stephon Gilmore. Like, will Stephon Gilmore be a guy that's in the top 50? I don't know. I wonder if his name could pop up.
The players have their own vision,
right?
And they fear Pollard a little bit more than Dak. Apparently, I thought that was interesting. If you would hold an all-player draft right now, Dak is not getting out of the top 15 at worst.
Correct.
You'd get a couple of pass rushers in there, maybe a wide receiver, but Dak could be in your top 10 quarterbacks taken.
Well, we saw, I think it was ESPN that did a draft actually using the last draft's order, and Dak went at 9, right? I mean, there was he was one of the first few quarterbacks to actually go in the draft, so.
Yeah, players just look at it differently.
They look at it differently, do.
And Dak's been way higher, and he's a better player than he was, a couple of years back when he was maybe in the top 10.
Well, and just to put it into context a little bit too, the players voted Justin Fields as a better player than Trevor Lawrence.
Okay,
it's so we're not totally
Speed
taking this
matters
as Bible.
more to the players.
Yeah, highlight stuff, big play stuff.
I wonder
Tough
how
to
many
tackle.
players. Yeah, I wonder how many players really vote on this. I think this might be one of those things where it's like the PR departments and stuff. The players maybe don't want to vote on it. Hey, man, I'll give you $100 if you fill out my ballot for me, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
There's some times where I believe that it's not always the players voting on this.
Well, an interesting list indeed, and it's been running for maybe a decade or so, is I think the top player ranking list that we get every year, and it's always worth at least a fun discussion for where you'd put them.